So this is the time of week of my championship score predictions. We made it to match day 30 now. Obviously we had some midweek games. In terms of the shout outs, one comment got 3 correct predictions, which has not happened since Guna Guy did it a couple of weeks back. Well done, Jamie Gold, you smashed it this week. You got the Wigan and Sheffield Wednesday game right. You got the Luton and Derby game right. You also got the Cardiff and West Brom game right. Unbelievable, really. I only got 1 correct prediction in midweek. That was the Blackburn and Queen's Park Rangers game, which ended as a 2-1 home victory to Blackburn. This is what it looks like right now in the Lexus Hall of Fame. So I've kind of based it off a leaderboard thing. We've got a 3-way tie in the leaderboard. So it is wildly competitive. I'm already thinking about plans of next season as this channel develops. Maybe I'll turn the Hall of Fame into sort of a competitive circumstance where there could be prizes to win. I wouldn't be able to do it now because of the lack of time, but I'm already thinking about plans for the future of this channel. As always, if you like what you see and you want to see more championship content from me, please make sure you do give this video a like. It's massively appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't done, or if you live around here, all of that would be fantastically appreciated. And please share the channel to as many championship fans as you can. That's the way we will grow a community. We've nearly made it to 100 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible. It'll be fantastic to get to that target as soon as we can, and we can go to the next step. All of that will be terrifically appreciated. As always, I'm going to leave a few poll questions up there. One of the main ones I really want you guys to answer is, do you want me to release my mid-season championship predictions again? I released them in Christmas just to give a little bit of a parody and to make it a bit comical, but it didn't quite work out for me. So I'm thinking of making it a little bit more serious, and that I've got a transfer window to now base it on. I'm more confident in predicting the teams. So if you want that, let me know in the comments down below, or hit the eye icon up there and answer yes or no. Without any further ado, let's move on to 12 cracking championship games we've got this weekend. So we're going to start off with 2 Fridays games. The first one we're going to talk about is Cardiff going up against Reading. Cardiff have actually not beaten Reading in their last 6 meetings, so Cardiff do not have a strong record against Reading, although they do have a very strong home form. They have not lost in their last 6 home games, picking up 3 wins and 3 draws in the process. As a Reading, they had a very strong run of form in around December to January time. That form's kind of stuttered a little bit because now they've not won in their last 3 games. If you cast your minds back to the reverse fixture, this was actually one of Reading's best performances against Cardiff at the home fixture, where Puskas was absolutely sublime, and he's been the player so far this season that's been a little bit inconsistent. Obviously, these sides will be very familiar with each other. They've already played each other 2 weekends back in the FA Cup. They've got to go to a replay, which take place next week, so it'll be very interesting to see how this game goes. To predict this game, I'm going to match the result that was in the FA Cup. I'm going to say it's a 1-1 draw. I don't think Cardiff will lose at home because Cardiff have got a bit of stability at home, but at the same time, I don't see them winning it either. Reading, they've drawn 2 of their last 3 games, so I think they will be okay in managing to manage this game. But I don't see a lot of this side, so I'll say a 1-1 draw. I can't see them being separated. So next up, we've got Derby County going up against Stoke City. Derby may be a little bit more fatigued because they did have to play midweek on the Tuesday. They're also going to have to cope with the ban of Dwayne Holmes as well, after he reacted badly with a back pass taken by Ben Hamer. Last time in this game in the reverse fixture, I briefly mentioned it in my last video, Scott Hogan managed to score Stoke's brace. He's now moved on to Birmingham, so they're not going to be able to get his goals now. With Derby, they scored very early on, and they scored a penalty following from that, with Martin Waghorn getting the 2 goals. Stoke were very unlucky to lose this game. I remember it. It was one of their most positive home performances under Nathan Jones. They hit the crossbar twice as well, with Joe Allen and Tom Ince hitting the bar respectively. In terms of this game, I mean, Derby's shown promising improvements with Wayne Rooney coming in. However, that just completely gets thrown aside, losing to bottom club Luton Town. But at the same time, it'll be a common championship theme if they just blow Stoke away in this game. But Stoke lately have shown to be really, really good and really resilient, especially away from home as well. I think back to when they beat West Brom by 1-0. They were so defensively compact, and West Brom really did struggle to try and master anything that was going to test Jack Butland. And they did the same against Swansea, although they was at home, but they did really, really well to keep a clean sheet as well. They've kept 2 clean sheets in a row, which is really encouraging for me. As of this game, I think that's going to continue, and I think Stoke will get a 1-0 away victory. I just have a good feeling that Stoke are going to get a good run of form now. Their confidence is high, beating 2 promotion MB sides in West Brom and Swansea. I think they'll be able to deal with Derby, even though Derby will definitely give them a game. I think Stoke will win by 1-0, but a very interesting matchup. So next up we've got Hull City going up against Brentford. Both sides having negative performances in midweek, with Brentford losing ground a little bit in the playoff race, losing against Nottingham Forest, and with Hull losing at home against Huddersfield Town. I think both of these games, both sides did have chances to try and gain control of the game, but they allowed the opposition to have too many chances against them, and eventually they took control. Hull, to be fair, did fight back, but then Steve Mounier had to score a last-minute winner to try and punch it through Hull City. Brentford are behind quite a lot of the match actually, and Brentford were really restricted of anything because Nottingham Forest was so threatening on the counter-attack. As of this game, I'm really struggling to call this game. I do tend to get quite a few goals in this matchup, so I'm going to say that this game will be a high-scoring game. I'm going to say I don't think either side will win. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. I can see Brentford probably gaining a bit of control in the beginning, but depending how Hull cope, likely without Jared Bowen, it looks like that he may sign for West Ham. See if that definitely happens when I upload this video. But I think despite that, I think Hull have got bags load of quality and potential, and if they hit him on the counter-attack like Nottingham Forest did, they can definitely get a result. So I'll say a 2-2 draw. Next up, we've got Leeds going up against Wigan. Obviously, cast your mind back to last year, because this was Wigan's only away win in 2019, and this was a big contribution to Leeds not getting promoted into the Premier League. It was a very dramatic game. Leeds were controlled, they had so many opportunities, but somehow Wigan, with two bare chances, managed to go ahead, and Leeds really struggled and were really frustrated. This is a fiery encounter. Wigan have gone down to 10 men in their last two meetings against each other. Leeds had to pull off a miracle to try and beat Millwall by 3-2. They were 2-0 down at half-time, dead and buried, but Patrick Bamford, to be fair to him, really did step up and scoring two pretty good goals. Wigan also had a fantastic win, in fact going behind against Sheffield Wednesday at half-time, but Wigan came back to the second half with all guns blazing, Kiefer Moore equalising, and Jamal Lowe finally gained his opportunity in the 90th minute to score, and that made it 2-1 to Wigan. So both of these sides had very important wins, obviously with Leeds, in actually trying to gain control in the promotion race, now overtaking West Brom because they've stuttered. They've now developed a little bit of a gap between them and the playoffs as well. As with Wigan, this win was needed since sides were at the bottom of the table were winning as well, and they've given themselves a little bit of a chance that they could try and potentially get themselves out of the relegation zone. As of this game, I am so tempted to say Wigan will win this game and that lightning will strike twice. However, I'm going to say that this is going to be a 1-1 draw. I actually don't think Leeds will win this game. Next up, we've got Middlesbrough going up against Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn, who previously had a very poor run of form, have kind of recovered it a little bit, winning 2 games in a row now. As with Middlesbrough, they were the team in form that now they've tailed off, not winning in their last 3 games now. This is what it's been like in the Championship. You get one team great in form, but then when one team form drops, another team gets in good form. That's why it's been so tight this year, which is absolutely enthralling as a neutral. As for the reverse fixture, Blackburn managed to get a 1-0 home victory. Again, where I think they were comfortable quite a fair bit, even though Middlesbrough did threaten now and again. Blackburn have been quite quiet in the transfer window. Middlesbrough have been a little bit more lively in the transfer window, obviously getting the 2 early signings of Lemaitre and Roberts. Patrick Roberts already, I think for me, has already really excited me. I think he can really bring something extra to Middlesbrough. As of this game, I'm interested to see how Jonathan Woodgate might approach this game. At home, Middlesbrough have gained a little bit of control and form as well. As with Blackburn, they've proven to be quite strong away from home, not necessarily picking up the most positive result, but they do give each team a real hard time. I'm going to back this game to be a 0-0 draw. Obviously not wanting a 0-0 draw, because who wants that? But I have a feeling if there's any game that might be a 0-0 draw, it might be this game. Most of these sides in their head-to-head meetings draw in this game, and you don't see many goals in their last 2 meetings. 1 goal happening in each game. It could be just 1 goal in it, but for me, I don't think there'll be any. I think it'll be a 0-0 draw. Now, the game I'm definitely going to get my popcorn out for, it is Queen's Park Rangers versus Bristol City. Obviously, the biggest news coming from both of these sides. Bristol City have managed to capture Nahki Wells from Burnley. Obviously, they've lost Josh Brownhill in the process, which might be a big loss. But getting Nahki Wells and getting a pretty positive price from it. The Josh Brownhill price was undisclosed, but for me, I think it was around 10 million that they were going to get for him anyway. So I think that's a really positive sign actually, and I think Wells could really hit the ground running. If he continues to form like he did with Queen's Park Rangers, he was literally scoring goals for Queen's Park Rangers to his last game. If he carries that to Bristol City and hits the ground running, Bristol City could be a real big favourite for promotion at this rate, bearing in mind of how all the sides in the top 6 are stuttering a little bit. Both these sides have played against each other twice already this season. The first meeting was a 3-3 draw between the sides, which got into a penalty shootout, which Queen's Park Rangers won in the end. Then they played against each other the week after, and then it was Bristol City beating Queen's Park Rangers by 2-0, and it was Queen's Park Rangers' first defeat of the season as well. And Bristol City overall have a very strong record against Queen's Park Rangers, winning 4 of their last 6 meetings against the side. And they've managed to get 3 wins in a row, so you could argue that streaky league is back for Bristol City. You've now got to hope for Bristol City's fans' sake that he doesn't lose that streak. If he can keep it going for a good 4 or 5 games, I'd say Bristol City will be in a pretty strong position, because that would be a good 7 or 8 wins in a row, which could easily, at this rate, put them in around the top 2. As with Queen's Park Rangers, you're always going to get a great performance from them. In predicting this game, I'm really going to give it to a 1-goal margin. I'm going to say a 2-1 away victory with Naki Wells to score 1 of the goals. If that happens, I cannot imagine the reception he's going to get, but you would love to see it. So I'll say a 2-1 away victory to Bristol City, saying that Lee Johnson's streak is going to continue. So next up we've got Sheffield Wednesday going up against Millwall. Now Sheffield Wednesday are on a really poor run of form, only winning once in their last 6 games. Out of the form table, they are actually rock bottom, joining on points with West Brom. So both of these sides having a really poor run of form. As with Millwall, they've actually lost their last game, which of course was the midweek game against Leeds United. However, I would say they were a little bit unlucky, because even going ahead and then going behind, Millwall did have chances to get back into it, but unfortunately they couldn't really make it count. They really put Leeds under pressure in Ellen Road as well, which is not an easy trait to have. But I think they'll really take this opportunity against the Sheffield Wednesday side, which have proven that they've not been really strong at the moment, especially at home actually, which is really surprising. In terms of the sides that I'm enjoying seeing right now is Millwall, and I think with Gary Rowett, I think he'll make sure that they decide to have a good response against their loss against Leeds, because I don't think they should have lost. I'm going to say that Millwall win by 3-1. I think Millwall could really score quite a few goals in this game. Obviously, with the quality of Sheffield Wednesday, they're going to have a lot of opportunities on goal, but I'd say Millwall would take their chances better. However, I only see one result, and that is Millwall winning by 3-1. So next up, we've got top versus bottom scenario. We've got West Brom going up against Luton Town. Last game they actually had against each other was a 2-1 away victory to West Brom, but I do remember this game. Luton were quite unlucky not to get anything out of the game. They did master a really good response in that game, but West Brom, being West Brom, found a way and dug deep and got a result out of it. And it was one of Luton's very few defeats they had at the start of the season. If you take both these sides' defeats in their last 6 games, there are 8 losses between them. Luton losing 4 out of their last 6 and West Brom losing 3 of their last 6. So ideally, both of these sides are not in a good run of form. Obviously with Luton, they've actually won their last game. It was a midweek game against Derby. They did concede 2 goals in the process, but they scored 3 and they managed to score more than the opposition, which is important. Obviously defensively, it's a big fix, and if they can't fix it, the best they can do is to score plenty, and that's what they did against Derby. And actually I think all 3 goals were well deserved goals, and they were well executed goals as well. A couple coming in from corners. Why am I thinking that West Brom may lose this game? I don't think West Brom will win following their poor run of form. I don't think they'll lose though. I think this will be a 1-1 draw. It'd be very interesting to see West Brom lose this game again, because that will put some severe pressure on Bilic for me, in my opinion. Despite how good he's put West Brom in the position that he's in, Nottingham Forest at this rate will catch West Brom, and I think as soon as West Brom fall into the playoffs, I think Bilic will be put under pressure. But for me, I don't think either side will win. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. So next up, we've got Preston going up against Swansea. Swansea have a very strong record against Preston. However, Preston do have the best home record in the whole league. So it's not going to be easy for Swansea to get a result. They had a pretty poor defeat against Stoke City in their Saturday game, losing 2-0 against them. They did master chances in the first 20 minutes, but apart from that, they really dropped down and allowed Stoke to get into it. Grimes was unlucky not to score immediately after going behind by hitting the crossbar from a free kick. Preston have had a huge break. They've not played since Tuesday last week when they beat Barnsley by 3-0, and I have to say, one of the best away performances I've seen from Preston all of season. Barkusen was absolutely terrific. Everyone for Preston was absolutely terrific, and it really blew Barnsley away. However, Swansea is a completely different test with the quality that they have. I think the signings they've made have been really positive as well. Preston have not signed that many, of course. They've got Scott Sinclair, who I'm really still yet to see what he can add to this Preston squad. It is 7th going up against 8th place. Both of these sides are going to be keen to get into playoffs, and I think if one of these sides wins these games, they could potentially be the one side that enters the playoffs by the end of this weekend. For me, I'm going to edge Preston for a 2-1 home victory. It's not going to be easy, considering that Preston don't have a strong record against Swansea, but I definitely do think they can do it. I'm going to say a 2-1 home victory to Preston. So next up, we've got Fulham going up against Huddersfield. Both these sides have been relegated from the Premier League, but just the position between these two clubs is staggering. 15 places separate these two sides. Fulham are up in 4th, not losing in the last 3 games. They drew their last game, which was last Wednesday against Charlton. I think they were quite unlucky not to win that game based on the chances that they did have against Charlton. As with Huddersfield, they picked up a fantastic away victory against Hull. However, with Fulham not playing in over a week, you could argue that Huddersfield are going to be a little bit more fatigued than Fulham are. Fulham also have a very strong record against Huddersfield, winning 4 of their last 6 meetings. I don't think Mitrovic will be back yet, but they could definitely use their new signing of Bobby Reid to try and step in for him. Maybe Abubakar Kamara could also step up as well. I'm going to say that Fulham get a 2-0 home victory. I could see them even keeping a clean sheet. Despite how good Huddersfield were against Fulham, I do think the extra bit of rest and I do think the extra bit of quality in the squad for Fulham is going to be too much for them. So I'm going to say a 2-0 home victory to Fulham. Now we've got a cracking game here. We've got Charlton going up against Barnsley. But if Barnsley win this game, Barnsley could really start putting the pressure on Lee Bowyer and Charlton. The last game, I do remember it well. It was a 2-2 draw. Cordy Woodruff scoring an absolute screamer in that game. I remember it was one of my standout goals of the championship. Since Charlton's encouraging win against Bristol City, which was their first win in 17, they've not won in their last 5 games. And it's that really inconsistent run of form, which is why they've been dropping down the table. It's only 6 points that separates the two sides, which could easily be reduced if the away side gets an away victory. Barnsley have only won one in the last 6, which has surprised me because their performances on the whole have been quite consistent. Preston's performance was completely embarrassing. They really did not show up at all in that game. But I'll be interested to see if the signing of Michael Solbauer may be the signing that Barnsley need to get a bit of defensive stability. As of this game, this could be very cagey. I might say 1 goal is going to edge the side to win. I'm going to edge Charlton with a 1-0 home victory. I don't know why, but there's something inside me that says that Lee Bowyer is going to make it very clear that Charlton need to win this game. If Charlton don't win, Charlton will be in danger. If they win, they could probably ease themselves a little bit, even though they may not be that safe yet. But it will really put Barnsley under pressure, which I think is what Charlton are going to want. It will then be a 9-point gap between them and Barnsley, which surely by then they could feel a little bit more comfortable, and especially if they pick up more wins as well. I'm going to say 1-0 Charlton, but could be wrong on that one. So the final game to go over this weekend is Birmingham going up against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest are the team in form at the moment, not losing in their last 7 games. And with that strong run of form, that is why they are leading the rest of the pack in the playoffs. Only 2 points behind West Brom. So if they win this game and West Brom drop points, they could potentially overtake West Brom and get into the top 2 of the table. As with Birmingham, they had a really dodgy run of form. However, it's kind of patched out a little bit. They have not lost in their last 3 games, despite only winning once in the last 6. And that win was against the bottom side Luton Town as well. So Birmingham definitely need to pick up more points against teams around them. Nottingham Forest were absolutely terrific against Brentford. Joe Lolly managing to score the only goal in the game. And despite not having the ball all that much, they really put Brentford under pressure with their fantastic game plan, which has been the counter-attack. And the fact they're away from home as well is even more encouraging. I think they've got a much stronger away record than their home record this season. At times at home, Nottingham Forest have become unstuck, but away from home, they do tend to get it right. Despite with Birmingham having a strong home record as well, you could see that Birmingham could get a shock home victory against Nottingham Forest. You could see it. I was going to predict that Birmingham were going to get a shock home victory because It'll be a typical Championship game if Nottingham Forest, the team in form, loses against a side not strong in form, but they have a pretty strong home record. In the end, I've backed myself to be a little bit safe, and I'm going to say a 2-0 away victory to Nottingham Forest. But if it turns out that Birmingham can win this weekend, I'm going to kick myself for it. But that wraps up my Championship predictions. Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of your side's chances getting into this weekend? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of your transfer window? Obviously, by this time this video comes out, the transfer window will be pretty much closed. Let me know in the comments down below. But that wraps it up for today's video. If you guys liked what you see, please make sure you do give this video a like. It is massively appreciated. Please subscribe if you haven't done it, or if you're new around here. All of that will be fantastically appreciated. And please share the channel to as many football fans and Championship football fans as you can. All of that will make my day. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this extravagant video. And as always, take care.